Morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, April 30th. It is the last day of April. Can you believe that May is already upon us? I can't. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, JC, Steve, Alfonso with you on this fine spring morning. Here's what we got going on today. We got Jeff Weiss on the show, fan favorite. He has been on probably about 2 or 3 times now since we've been doing the show for the last few years. And every time he comes on, it is a blast. It is basically just story time with Jeff. He did send over a few charts, but it's mostly just story time with Jeff. So we'll have that happen. Unfortunately, no Kenny today. He's off in New York doing New York City things. I'm not quite sure. He'll be back tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, I'll talk about tomorrow later on in the show because we're going to do some special tomorrow. It's not going to be a normal programming day. So I'll talk to you about that a little bit later in the hour. And we'll have Mary hop in as well because it is Wednesday, and on Wednesday we have mornings with Mary. I don't know what's on Steve's mind or JC's mind, so we'll have to just ask him to find out, shall we? I say we shall.
All right, we are back. Steve Strazza, I've got something for you, sir, that you would be both proud and jealous about.
Oh boy. What could it be?
You ready for this? 3 dinners last night. 3 dinners, that's right. Count them. 3 legitimate sit-down dinners.
You did a triple?
First time for me.
Wow.
I've never done 3 dinners, and none of them were sushi.
Do you care to elaborate on how you made that happen?
So I got Perlman making me run 10 miles a week, right? Which doesn't sound like that bad, but I'm also doing legs, and I also live on top of a hill. So every time I go for a run, it's serious hills. So it's not as easy as it sounds. So that's number 1.
JC's runs are not like our runs, Spencer's. He's got hills.
You're a flatlander.
I run inside now, so
I got 500 feet of elevation for every 2 miles I run. I mean, that's not nothing.
Okay.
So now he's got me not eating carbs and not snacking late night. So here I am in the city yesterday looking for office space with Patrick, right? Starving. Like I will kill somebody for a piece of for anything, right? And Pat's like, all right, so where do you want to go? I'm like, we got to eat. So we were in the 30s. I was like, let's go to Little Korea. I got my spot that Sam Rowe hooked me up with. Dude, this place is so good. Dom's Bogan.
I remember him mentioning that on our show.
This place is so good.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good. So anyway, we go there, we crush it.
So you started with Korean barbecue. Did you do a full meal though?
No carbs, just protein.
Great.
Just proteins.
Great.
And then the dried squid is so good. The dried squid is too good. Anyway,
Really? All right.
so freaking good. All right, so then we got in there, and then I actually had dinner plans, right? So then I went to dinner, and it was all like oysters and lobsters and shrimp and kind of like seafoody stuff, right? We went to Grand something, a boat down in Tribeca. And then we wound up at Dead Rabbit at midnight. So I'm eating again. The food at Dead Rabbit is fantastic if you guys haven't been. So 3 dinners last night.
So is that for a late night burger? What's a Dead Rabbit?
Dead Rabbit is a speakeasy down in Financial District. It was there as Michael Noss, Larry Thompson, Jake W, Patrick's girlfriend.
Look, I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of both of you guys. That's a true achievement.
Dude, 3 dinners.
Triple in the city.
Yeah.
We were just talking about all the dinners you've been having. So
3 dinners, no sushi. No sushi.
Wow. I don't know how Pat ate 3 dinners. Eats like a bird.
I just had 2.
Okay.
I don't even think he ate in the third one. I think he just had the first one.
That's awesome. Sounds like you guys had a blast.
We had such a good time yesterday in New York City. Doing city things, city people,
Did we find an office yet?
I think we have a few options. Office space these days is not hard to come by.
No, it is not.
It's not. So, we got that going for us.
Buyer's market.
Market.
That's what I keep being told.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the Dow futures down 1/3% this morning. It's 140 points to the downside. S&P's down 80 basis points, 53.40. That's 45 handles to the downside, finding resistance at that key 5,600 level. So all eyes on that. NASDAQ 100 leading the way to the downside, 1.25% to the downside, 250 points down today for the NASDAQ. 30-year bond futures flat at 117. Crude oil down again, down another 1.3%, under 60. 59 for crude oil. Copper down 6% today, down to 456. Big move there in copper. Gold down 1%, 3,300. Silver down 3% at 32.5, with the VIX up to 25 in funny money land. You got Bitcoin up 400 points this morning, just under 95,000. You got Ethereum. Ethereum under 1,800, down almost a full percent on the day. Solana still at 146, really been flat there for quite some time. With the total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, 2.91 trillion. How do we feel about this morning's futures?
I'll just say again, the bull flags in crypto continue to just shape up perfectly. So textbook, looks fantastic. Solana is a good example of what that looks like. And crude oil on the ropes. Do energy stocks follow and confirm this as a distribution pattern in crude oil? That's what I'm really watching out here.
And the positioning is pretty stretched, man. So, like, betting on downside in crude oil.
Like, I think you got to treat it as like that is a bearish pattern, and it does look to be completing. But, man, this thing's got scoop and score and a recovery written all over it, I think.
Yeah, what's wrong with just to stay away for now? Like, you don't have to be short. You don't have to be long. You just stay away. What's wrong with that?
That's pretty much where I'm at for most things, because I was buying the lower bounds in a lot of these energy assets and have been stopped out.
Mr. Strazza, you just kind of like glazed over the fact that copper is down 6.5% today. That China is not the thing that stands out the most?
Isn't that China?
What's going on in China?
China. I don't know.
I mean, China's down.
China announced their orders numbers, some sort of factory.
There's a whole bunch of international GDP, industrial stuff, all a lot of data is coming out today from a lot of places.
I'll bet you it's the factory stuff or the GDP. That would make sense.
And when did people start believing the things that are coming out of China? Like, don't we just assume that they're all just lying to us?
Pretty much.
How
China's
far...
not down. So why are you saying that copper's down because of China? China's up this morning.
If Chinese industrial activity and manufacturing activity is slowing, then that would be a reason for copper to sell off.
And who says that they're slowing? These communists?
Yeah, the bunch of numbers. I saw them hitting the wire this morning. I can't get a read on it, Spencer, because my forum is great and it doesn't include fake data.
So then it never. I mean, look at CQQQ up 1.3% today. I mean, that's not why copper's down 6.5%. I mean, that's a serious move in copper, dude.
Then I don't know. You asked, and I tried to offer you something.
Yeah, but you're just making shit up. You don't have to make shit up. You can just say, I don't know. You don't have to just assume it's a China thing when we know it's not.
It'd be crazy to not assume it's a China thing if copper's down 6% in this headline-driven market. Got news for you.
All right. So China's up this morning. That's why copper's getting destroyed. I don't see it.
Spencer.
No, it's almost certain. If you're wondering why the overnight futures market is in a specific market is down, it's almost certainly from a headline, right? Because
it's down a lot.
A lot of headlines come out overnight from countries that are not ours, right?
Robert Pesci is pounding the table that it is the GDP number, dude. The dude abides. GDP it is.
How long do they take
this? GDP? China's GDP or America's?
Well, we just got US GDP, but there's a lot of GDPs out today. They're right. Australia's GDP was out. China GDP was out. Wasn't Germany also out? Something from Germany, but yeah, we did have US GDP down quarter over quarter. Surprise! I mean, actually, it was not just down. It was negative. It was negative, right?
Copper started falling 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
JC, there is no pleasing you with the price action in copper. However, I think that the things that we're all saying, and even the chat is saying, make a lot of sense.
Can we throw up the new slide 2 there, please? So we've got the end of the month. We got new monthly candles. New monthly candles. Those are serious returns, bro. Germany's up 24% this year. Brazil's up 21%. Africa, shout out to the Africans, up 15%. And China coming in hot at 11%.
But I like how you showed the performance chart here, because just 3 weeks ago they were all flat. So all of these gains have really happened over the course of the past several weeks on this little V-shaped recovery for global equity.
Sorry to break your heart there, but Brazil and Germany have all been up all year, including a month ago.
Right, you guys could see what I'm talking about in the line chart, how it tags back to the zero line, and then
see it. Do you think the rest of the world gives a shit that your American stocks aren't doing too well?
Yeah, definitely.
They're not acting like it.
There's a lot of foreign direct investment, foreign indirect investment into our markets. Absolutely. That's why you saw this big selling pressure in US dollar denominated assets. It's people taking their dollars back, taking them home, right? So
putting them under their mattress.
I would say they care a lot. It's the biggest market in the world. There was somebody on with Josh, some professor, and he was making a great point about the bull market for the US dollar that's been in place since the financial crisis. Not just US dollar denominated assets, but the dollar itself, right? Transactions denominated in dollars, capital markets denominated in dollars. Everything really came back to America in a big way after the crisis. And his point was that's coming undone. It's been coming undone for a long time now, going on for 10 years, because these things happen slowly. I thought that was interesting. You know, words like hegemony.
What is that? What is that?
That's a big
US dollar hegemony. I mean, like the US dollar global dominance, right?
Yeah, hegemony is the act of one
dominating
group or person or thing dominating another group or person or thing, although the group that is being dominated may not realize it, right? That's
a word reminded me of you yesterday. Did you see the text I sent you? I popped open the menu and I saw amuse-bouche, and I just laughed. I giggled because that's JC's favorite word.
My favorite word? I mean, I wouldn't say my favorite word, but like if you're at a restaurant that has an amuse-bouche, like you're probably at a decent place.
Amuse-bouche.
I don't even know what that is. I have to Google it.
Amuse-bouche.
You really don't know what an amuse is?
I can't. I don't know. I can't. I don't know how to spell it. I don't even know how to Google it because I can't spell it. I'm gonna guess. Okay. Oh, single bite hors d'oeuvres. That's what we're talking about.
It's get you ready. It's a warm up.
Dude, if you're at a bougie restaurant, they're gonna give you an amuse-bouche just to wet the beak a little, get your little mojo going. You know, sometimes it's like a little soup, like a tomato soup or some kind of like thing that they prepared, or like sometimes it's like a little scoop of sorbet, or sometimes it's like a little like bite, like a little like cracker with some schmutz on it. You know,
but that's a different thing. So they have like palate cleansers in the middle of some of these fancy meals too. That I'm very bullish on. So if you start with like some Wagyu hot stones, then your mouth is just overpowered with flavor. And they'll bring you like a little ginger ice ball. Think of like a little baby snow cone, right? With like ginger, and it just cuts all the flavor out and gets you ready for the next one.
Only at the bougiest restaurants. I like when we do the dim sum in Chinatown, like they do the halftime where they bring you the donuts. Like the donut thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the halftime. Like I'm into that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mess around with the Chinese for brunch. I'm into it.
Polish palate cleansers.
Yeah. Dude, Cubans don't have like a halftime snack like in the middle of a meal. You know what I'm saying? Like Cubans don't do that shit. Italians don't do that either.
Just keep pounding.
Do the Jews do that, Spencer? You guys don't have a halftime.
They eat a cracker.
No, we don't.
I think we should all start incorporating that like dim sum Chinese halftime thing.
It also it slows you down. It pulls you back, right?
Yeah, it does.
During these nice
Golden
meals.
Unicorn. Shout out Golden Unicorn in Chinatown, East Broadway.
A lot of food talk today. Love it.
Strazza, I mean, I had 3 dinners, so food's on my mind. Yesterday, you put out a great post showing the leadership. So I just showed Germany, Brazil, Africa, and China just because I wanted like a representation of each continent, right?
Yeah.
Was kind of what I was going there. I thought I did a pretty good job. I thought, you did an excellent job there yesterday, Spencer. If you could throw up that slide.
I was just sorting by the 1 month relative here, so a little bit different.
Can you zoom in there, Spencer? We got to start getting more horizontal tables here.
Yeah. Fill those slides out. So what really stands out is just look at the names on this list. This is from a universe of 77 different international ETFs that we like to track, try to basically cover the whole world, as many countries and regions as we can, as well as some factor stuff in there. And when stuff like Brazilian small caps, Mexico, Poland, Hungary, Indian financials, Brazil, and the Philippines, not to mention UK and European small caps as well, when those are your headliners, right? When that's what's on the top of the leaderboard, it's not defensive. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. I think it speaks to a growing level or an improving level of risk appetite around the world. So we talk about these dollars leaving. JC just brought up, where are the dollars going? Well, they're going overseas. And then what are they going into overseas? They're going into some of the most risk-on stuff that investors could find. So the fact that investors are embracing risk overseas, despite what's going on here in our domestic markets, I think is still very, very bullish for the global risk appetite picture.
These Forex markets continue to move. You got the Taiwan dollar, highest level since November. You got the rupee in India, highest level since November. Korean won acting well. The Malaysian ringgit, new highs again today. New 6-month highs. Shout out to the Malaysian ringgit. Philippine peso, new highs again today. Look at Brazilian real continuing to act well. Mexican
look at the
peso
real,
well.
Because the real, that breakout is happening right now. That's the level we were talking about. We jumped the breakout a little bit, which you got to do sometimes. But it's scooping, and the real is really scoring.
Yeah. Kiwi rolling over a little bit. Japanese yen's an interesting one for me. Speculators. In the latest commitment of traders report, speculators, the quote-unquote dumb money, have never been more long of Japanese yen.
The Yosul here in the chat says, C Limited, Grab Holdings.
I believe it's Yosul.
Yosul. What I said. And Mercado Libre, what he's talking about is a basket of emerging market equity vehicles. And I'll tell you, those are 3 of the best ones you could find. So that's something I do. Like, we're looking constantly for stocks, right, that are focused on the consumer economy in these growing regions of the world, right? The Amazons of C Limited, Grab, the Uber of Mercado Libre, the Amazon of Latin America. These are some of the best vehicles to play.
I learned about a new Amazon the other day. There was a new Amazon of a new country that I didn't know had an Amazon.
Kazakhstan?
No, I know that one. There was a different one. Man, what was it? It was the it was the Amazon of Japan. I didn't know Japan had its own Amazon. RKUNY. RKUNY.
Never heard of that.
Rakuten Group.
All right. We'll have to look into it.
$12.5 billion. $12.5 billion. This is the Amazon of Japan.
I mean, if it was the Amazon of Japan, I would expect it to have a slightly higher market cap.
I mean, maybe it's just getting going.
And beta, for that matter. Oh, no, it's one of these conglomerates.
Does anybody know what are they using in Japan? Are they using Amazon?
Dude, all these Asian companies, they're all conglomerate. I guess in America too, for that matter. But like, they all do 15,000 different things. So maybe they're Amazon, but they're also, they're also Verizon, right? They're also
find out. Here's how you find out what the Amazon of from these countries is. You talk to a person from that country.
Yeah.
And ask them what they order from. Like, if you talk to people in Southeast Asia, they love C Limited the way that we love Amazon. Talk about how it changed their lives and they can get anything and it comes in one day. You figure out what that is for them, because every country does have one. I'm sure Japan has one. What is it? I don't know. But you want that company, right?
I've got data going back over a decade, so I don't know. I mean, it's on the pink sheets. It's got a zillion letters in the ticker symbol, so you know how that goes. There we go. Katie Adler lives in Japan. First of all, good for you.
So what is it,
I wish
Katie?
I could live there for a little bit.
Give us the boots on the ground, Katie.
Yeah, Katie, what's going on, Katie Adler? You live in Japan. What's the story? Is it good? Do you use it? Are they using drones to drop off the packages?
They're not even doing that here. That's like a thing they've been rolling out for like 5 years now.
I saw it in a video. Fake news, I guess. People in Japan like going to stores. All right.
That's true. That's so true. We found
that. A tremendous waste of time.
It's crazy.
Imagine walking into a store in 2025 under this administration. You're walking into stores.
The malls in Asia are as crowded as the malls in America were 40 years ago.
Dude, good eating in those malls in Asia, though. Like, great eating.
Yep.
Like, the best restaurants, you have to go into the mall and then go to, like, the 4th floor. Yep. You know what I like about eating in Asia? The picture menus, right?
Yep.
Like, you just flip the pages and you're like, I want that one.
Absolutely necessary.
That's good thinking there. Because you're, like, in Kowloon, which is, like, the Brooklyn of Hong Kong, and you're, like, in the middle of nowhere. It's some, like, Cantonese joint. There isn't an English-speaking person in sight. But they got the picture menus. That's all you need.
Picture books in general, underrated. Yeah. We should do more picture books.
I'm a visual guy. That's why we look at so many charts. Like, you can tell me something a million times, but until you show me, like, I'm not going to get it.
Sabaros.
I'm not going to get it.
That's what we used to go to the Trumbull Mall for.
Oh.
No, not even. We would get the, there was this chicken teriyaki place. Oh, man, I'm going to forget the name. It was in the corner back there by the Old Navy. Boy, was it good. No.
All right. Well,
can we go to? I want to just mention something quick. Go through slide 4, please.
Too much food today, not enough stocks. Speaking of charts, though, JC is doing his monthly chart session tomorrow for members of AAC Premium. So I just dropped a link in the chat. If you are a member, you already got an email about it several times at this point. If you're not a member, sign up. Get access to the call tomorrow night. JC's going to rip through 100, 150 charts in like an hour, and it'll be a good time.
How come nobody ever wants to talk about the Dow Jones composite average?
I saw you tweet this morning.
I think I tweeted it yesterday.
Oh, well, I saw it this morning.
But nevertheless, why is it that nobody ever talks about the Dow Jones composite average?
I had to read the thing there to know what this even is. So
Stop it, Spencer. Are you serious, bro?
It's the industrial, the transport, and the utility. All right, that makes a lot of sense.
65 stocks. You got 30 stocks in the Dow Industrials. You got 20 stocks in the trannies, and then you got 15 in the Utes. So you got 65 stocks. What I find the most interesting is that when you break down the composition of this, you're looking at 30% industrial, 16% financials. Technology is only 12%, 4th largest weighting.
Because the answer to your question is there's not enough room in our brains for another. There's already 3. We got the S&P.
This isn't like a new thing. This has existed longer than you've existed, Spencer.
Okay. There's a reason why all fund managers, for the most part, are benched to the S&P 500. Is that true? Right? There's logic behind that.
Laziness,
and there's also a reason.
Go ahead.
And there's also a reason why they would never be benched against an index like this. Right? Do you guys agree?
Who's talking about what a fund manager's benchmark against?
Because it's not representative. You couldn't find me 35 less important stocks to put into an index than the utilities and transport.
65.
Nobody owns these stocks.
Nobody owns Uber?
This is a dead and forgotten index.
Nobody owns Uber or Apple or Microsoft or Caterpillar or JP Morgan. Those aren't important.
The Dow Industrial Average is already far less superior or inferior to the NASDAQ 100.
Let me ask you this.
35 crappy stocks to it. And what
Let me ask you this, wise ass. How come the Dow Jones Composite Average retested those former resistance levels from the end of 21, just like the S&P 500, just like the NASDAQ 100, just like the New York Stock Exchange Composite? Why is it that this one is doing the same as all those other things if this one doesn't matter?
The level of underperformance from this index over the years has been absolutely egregious, and you know it.
And
Go
why?
get me a
Tell me
relative
why.
chart,
Go ahead
and then
and
talk to
explain to me why, so I don't have to.
Because they're in utilities and transports, and just the Dow in general is a weak group of 30 stocks.
This index has underperformed in an environment where technology has massively outperformed for a long time, and this has a lower weighting to technology than a bunch of other indexes. That's the reason. It doesn't make it better or worse because it has less technology. It's just different.
No, it literally made it better that the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 had more technology. They were better for that reason.
They were better during that
decades.
time, during that period, sure. And at the end of the day, nobody's trading this. My question was very simply, why does this not get any love ever?
I just told you. Nobody cares about the price action of utilities or transports. And frankly, there's a ton of stocks still left in the Dow Jones Industrial Average that it's like nobody really cares about at all.
At least they kicked out Walgreens.
I was just going to ask. Okay, Walgreens is finally out? Yeah, it's just...
Walgreens is finally out. What it was doing there in the first place, I have no idea.
Is Pfizer still in the Dow?
Pfizer's in there.
Whew.
Yep.
All right. Well,
you don't think it should
They got a target on their back then.
I just want to say something before we bring in our next guest. Jeff Weiss is one of these guys that, like, you talk to like John Roque and you talk to like technicians that like we have a lot of respect for that are like old school. They look up to Jeff Weiss.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Weiss is like our technical analysis grandfather. Like he is like the guy that the guys we look up to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like when you talk about like, who Kobe Bryant like grew up idolizing. He grew up idolizing Michael Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, and then you got these young kids idolizing Kobe. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's the OG's OG.
He's the OG's OG. Yeah, that's right. That's the first thing you said today. That's not so dumb. That was good. He's the OG's OG.
Speaking of basketball, LeBron's got to retire. Just terrible. It's just not going well.
Not in the playoffs anyway. He had a good regular season.
He's not Kobe. That's for
Topher
sure.
is saying how it's price weighted. It's ridiculous. Yeah, maybe in theory it's ridiculous, but it moves exactly the same as the S&P 500, which is market cap weighted. So how ridiculous could it be? Zoom out. Go look at a chart going back to 1950 or 1957, whenever the S&P 500 was created, and overlay the Dow Jones Industrial Average and put them the same color, and then you wouldn't be able to tell me which one's which.
Yeah, but you could underperform egregiously if you were in this one. Did you know that Goldman Sachs is the captain now?
Captain of who?
The Dow.
Goldman Sachs is the captain? Captain of what?
Highest price stock in the Dow. Largest component.
Is it?
Because UNH literally had a hole blown in it.
Yeah, UNH is boycotting increasing shareholder value, apparently. Goldman Sachs. 8%. Wow, 8% for Goldman Sachs. And United Health is down to 7.65. How about that?
Shout out Goldman Sachs. Congrats.
I was right there next to their building yesterday. Down in Tribeca. I went to, it's called Grand something. It wasn't Grand Rapids. Damn, what was it called? It's called Grand something. It's right next to Goldman Sachs. I was like looking at it. It's a lovely place. It was on a boat. It was kind of like rocking. I'm like, am I going to get seasick at dinner? This was my second dinner.
Before we bring on Jeff, was there? I mean, there's a bunch of earnings here that we should probably talk about. We had Snapchat down 15% today.
Snapchat has become a can't-own company because their leadership just continues to prove over and over and over again that they don't know what the hell they're doing. This is one of the most poorly run tech companies you can find.
Is that true? Terrible. I didn't know that.
Oh, it's so bad. What was the CFO saying out here today?
Hold on. So listen to this. So maybe I should have expected this, but I didn't. Everybody gets a pass if you are a company that produces like hard goods. Dude, you get a pass on your guidance right now. Totally fine. If your product is technology and software, you can't blame the trade war for that, right?
Social media company pulling guidance. Oh, we just have no idea. The tariffs so scary.
You can't blame tariffs if you sell software and code, right?
Like, put your big boy pants on and figure it out. So that was just the latest terrible earnings report from Snapchat. Another one that stood out is Starbucks.
Yep.
Some
Down
of
8%, 9%.
yeah, some of the commentary from Starbucks. I had it last night.
Again, Starbucks. You can get a little bit of a pass. It's a global company with a lot of business in China, so you can blame the tariffs. And
The CFO said something that pissed me off. He said the way to analyze us as a company is not by our earnings. Don't pay attention to the EPS. You have to go and look at our stores and what we're doing. That's the way you should evaluate us as an investor.
All right. Well, JC would agree with that. Probably not look at the earnings. Let's
I don't like Starbucks.
Let's not forget. This is the second earnings report under their new CEO. Right.
One more time. One more thing. For Starbucks, Spencer's like giving them a pass. This piece of shit is at the same price it was a year before COVID.
Yeah, it's not good.
This has nothing to do with tariffs. It's just that the company sucks.
Yeah. Dutch Bros.
It doesn't get a pass. You suck, Starbucks. Do better.
There's always like some new trendy coffee shop popping up in New York City. What is it today? Is it like Blue Bottle? Something from like Seattle or
Blue
Oregon?
Bunny? I think Blue Bunny? Bad Bunny? One of those.
They're like Black Rifle Coffee Co.
I think it's Bad Bunny.
Don't know.
They're all the same. It's just coffee.
Right. Well, let's bring out Jeff and give him a pass on his voice. His son just got married like 3 days ago. So mazel tov, Jeff. But
Jeff's a talker.
Yeah, here he comes.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Mr. Jeff Weiss, how are you, sir?
Wait.
Do not worry, friends, and those of you in the audience. My voice problem will not affect my lack of knowledge, my low IQ in any way, which has been consistent throughout my 47 years in the business.
We lost his eye. We don't have his audio.
No. Your internet's a little bit. It was okay before. It's a little bit janky now. I don't know. I think we might have to power through it. But I hear him. I see him too.
Can you hear me okay now? JC?
Congratulations, Jeff, on the day of your son's wedding.
It was an amazing 3 days. I was fine, and then the after party I jogged to, and I'm pretty pumped up after the speeches and the dancing and watching my son do these moonwalk moves. It was crazy. What I did was I ran all the way past in Brooklyn in Dumbo because I'm dumb. I ran straight past the venue we were supposed to be at. Then I had to run all the way back, and I caught a chill. So I didn't even have a voice really yesterday. So fortunate for you and unfortunately for my wife for 36 years. It's an honor to be with you again. I am so proud of what you've done. So proud to be on the show. You will never hear as a technician, and those of you in the audience, if you're technicians, remember, tariff is not uttered. No excuses. We're technicians. And I'm going to talk to you about what the bottom has been, the 50% retracement bottom so far, which is quite similar in that respect to what happened in 1987, to what happened in 1990, and even to what happened in 1994. So we go over the chart soon, but remember, there were two guarantees. That's two. In this business, hard work and losses. Don't let cuts become hemorrhages or hemorrhages become amputations, because if you're right 13 out of 14 times, you're going to be bragging about it from a trailer park somewhere in the wilds of Alaska. I like Alaska. Don't know if I like
let me ask you something, Jeff. You talk about technicians and technical analysis. You talk to a guy like John Roque. To me, one of the all-time greats. He's on my personal Mount Rushmore, John Roque, and he speaks very highly of you as one of his key mentors. Can you tell us a little bit about how you met John and why he speaks so highly of you?
He must have heard me speak at some point. We sat next to one another at a mutual hedge fund manager's wedding. I think we both have, in some ways, overlapping personalities. I think basically, John is kind of a no-nonsense technician, and he tries not to miss anything. I do the same thing, although I try to get people who are fundamentalists into the fold, which I always had to do throughout my career, because to me, I wanted to get the people on my side basically to protect my job. And you can't do that with just technical followers. John is very, very thorough, does a great job, dry sense of humor. I think I'm like that to an extent too. I think he's a very good person. I don't know if I'm in that category. But I guess, John, I'm 69. I was 69 last week. John has to be 15 years younger than me, I would think, maybe more.
Well, happy birthday, 69. Great year right there. You want?
Yeah, I'll be talking about Medicare in my next one, because it'll be bankrupt by you and your audience get there. Don't worry about it. Just keep paying in for me.
Can we today's the last day of the month, and I get very excited when it comes to these monthly data points. And you brought today a monthly bar chart, and I just want to give you a shout out for the monthly bar charts. Bar charts, in my opinion, underrated. A rare find. Rarely will you go out there on the internet in the wild and find a monthly bar chart. So good on you, Jeff, bringing out.
Well, I've been doing monthly bar. I've been a monthly closing bar. I also do quarterly charts. I also do annual charts. When I'm looking through the 2,000 names on my Mansfield charts I get every week, I'll go through.
Are you still getting your Mansfield charts printed? No.
I am, but they come over the internet. Piper Jaffray bought them, and they're very inexpensive. Do you know, friends, that when I was at Indicator Digest, right, in 79, they didn't get their Mansfield charts delivered one day?
Can I ask a question? What are Mansfield charts?
Oh, it's a great question, Spencer. Do you want to school this child, Jeff?
Speaking of children, congratulations on the upcoming baby. I will be posting. Are we allowed to post the registry?
No, I'm not going to post my registry no. Just tell me about the charts.
Well, I think
the Mansfield charts.
No, they don't. You have to post your registry. 0 coupon bonds for 17, 18, 19, and 20 years. How I put my kid through college, and I tried to turbocharge it with stocks. But 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with 9 charts on a page, and you put it in a Mansfield loose leaf binder. And when they didn't come one Monday, the boss sent me to Jersey City, and I picked up the charts from the owner of the company, Nassim Aboudi, who recently passed, but I got to speak to him 40 some odd years after I went there to pick up those charts in Jersey City on Kennedy Boulevard. Now, Craig Johnson, who the fine technical analyst at Piper Jaffray, Craig
also mines crypto in his basement.
Say that again.
He also mines cryptocurrencies in his basement.
Oh man,
because he lives in Minnesota, so he needs all the heat he can get.
That's right. Actually, we had a table of 20 crypto people at the wedding, because my son owns the CEO of his own crypto recruiting firm, and now he's spreading out in that area. And then he's involved in a crypto wallet firm. So their whole life.
What could go wrong?
What? I'll tell you, there's always a need for crypto compliance, no matter what. So he's doing right. But those are the charts. And by the way, they have a little box on the Mansfield that has the yearly high low. It just has 10 bars. And sometimes you'll look at it and you'll see a little pattern. And I'll say, let me go from the yearly to the quarterly to the monthly to the weekly to the daily. And that is how the orchestra starts bringing in the woodwinds and the symphonic melodies and the harp and the other parts of the band. The market is like an orchestra, and you need to make sure that all of the instruments and sections are accounted for, and then know your risk. But Spence, if you want to go back to that chart, I just wanted to show you all. By the way, we put on this chart 2 times ago. I think the S&P, I'm guessing, what was it? I don't know, 55, 5,600, 157.
Yeah.
If you take a look, I didn't have the pink line though. The 2 blue dashed lines there's 2 blue dashed lines, and that shows the distance between 34.91 and 48.18. I think I'm on target. I may be off by several points, but that's it. Now, if you add that same 1,300 and, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 points on to the breakout of 48.18, you get 61, I don't know, 20, 30, 40. Now, is it a crazy coincidence that we peaked at 61.47? Not to the technical analyst.
So this is a measured move you described this as?
Exactly. And that's the green arrow, adding that same 1,300 roughly point gain to the beautiful breakout above that low 4,800 area. And that's the red line, the red dash. And also, I think, and you're going to see on the next chart, why the area just above 5,500 is a problem. That pink line's around 5,700. Now this. Everyone, take a deep breath with me. The red circle, I believe, is, let's see, is that 40? I'm going to look here. 48.35. I believe 48.18 would be an almost exact 50% retracement of the move from 34.91 to 61.47. And the way we get that is we look at those 2 arrows, the 2 blue arrows, we take half of that, and the day we bottomed and we had that, big reversal, and you see the upside gap a few days ago. So far, that's the low. You know what I think the best lows are? If this is the low, they don't give you a chance to get in. And what are the best tops? They don't give you a chance to get out. You either pay the gosh darn price to buy, or you get left behind. And on the way down, you either sell at the market and you get the heck out, or you get left behind. And remember, these are for illustrative purposes. You have to call your broker, your accountant, your financial advisor, and check with them, based upon what your individual needs are. So, the disclaimer, I think, Spence, if you put it up, that would be great. But I just want to mention, and by the way, 1987 was a 50% retracement approximately of the low of 570 in 1974 to 2733 roughly in August of 87. By the way, it took 663 weeks to complete that move. 663. In 8 weeks, we gave back 50% of 663 weeks worth of gains.
So this 50% retracement, you take it really seriously. That's really interesting because I don't. So that's fascinating.
Well, I think we now have created the 50% retracement show.
I like that. I like. I think it's symbolic. I like
the
that.
50-50 show. I like the 50-50 show. Let me ask you something, Jeff. You OGs, you're not the only one that I've seen this. And I say OG like very respectfully. You OGs like love your arithmetic scale charts, right? Not using logarithmic scale charts. Can you explain your thought process behind that? Why do you guys do
What's
that?
OG? What's OG? What's OG?
OG I technically means original gangster, of which
I didn't know, when I don't know something,
it's more of a figure
low
of
IQ
speech.
people ask.
It's how the kids talk. Ask your son about it. He'll explain to you. It's a good
Can
thing.
I tell you something? I am not listening to Lil Wayne in that bus. I need to put a stop to it. We have the sweetest kids, but you get 8 of them or 9 of them in a bus, and it gets a little crazy. I prohibited drinking. I prohibited everything, and then I actually had
who
to
called the
sing.
no fun police? No booze
No,
and no Lil
listen to
Wayne.
this.
What kind of party is
I
that?
had to sing "Born to Be Wild" to get them to stop and go crazy in front of the windows. I know, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I do arithmetic because if I showed you the charts, Gary, can you go down in the basement and get one of the 1976, 7, 8 hand charts I did? Go down, make a right. Go down, make a right. I actually will show you. I do arithmetic because I use arithmetic, and I look on stockcharts.com has the other on the log, but I use arithmetic just because that's what I've used. And when I look at it, I think, it hasn't really affected what I do. I do have the ability.
Did we lose Jeff?
Jeff?
I guess we lost him.
Jeff? What? He's gone. All right. Well,
and he's gone. I do want to show off Jeff's chart here, slide 7, because I do think it's interesting. So I'm not a huge diagonal trend line guy. And, this is, first of all, I love talking to Jeff Weiss. This is a guy, who came up in the 1970s, has seen a lot, has got great perspective, does things very differently than we do, and a lot of the things the same. Jeff with with his arithmetic scale charts, with his diagonal trend lines. He's not wrong here. This level is a big one. For a lot of reasons, this 5,600 level is one that I've been eyeing. Here's another reason, right? Here's another reason right here. So that 5,600 level, a big one.
We're there, right? This is like we're at the scene of the crime.
Larry Thompson in the house. He says that Jeff Weiss needs his own show. I agree. That's what I said. Spencer's on it. So give him hell, Larry. Give him hell. I love how
provided his internet connection is good enough.
Makes a cameo.
Yeah, as long as his internet connection can handle it, then sure.
This is also true.
Wait a minute, Jeff. Is he back?
Different stocks respond differently to different moving averages, much like different people respond differently to different medications. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, and I see you.
I don't respond to medication. So for me, it doesn't apply. But
hold on. Can you tell us what's happening here, Jeff? Because I was just giving you props when you disappeared.
By the way, I saw that the futures, it's a little crazy. They're down today, right? They're down now?
They are indeed.
Okay. What I was going to show when I sent this chart yesterday afternoon to Spencer, that line, from what I could see, is September 22. See the red arrow? And do you see the green box, which shows some highs over there in the summer of what looks like 23, and then 2 blue arrows showing low areas along that line? Well, if you take a look at that line just above 5,500 where we closed yesterday, and you take a look at the recent low that we broke, which is just above 5,500, is that a coincidence? In my opinion, no. And this is the area where it makes sense to relax. Not saying it's a top because of the action I've seen. And by the way, 52% of all issues traded made new lows the week of the low. The shorts had it, in my opinion, way too easy. And the one day where we got destroyed, we had almost 41% of all issues traded making new lows, which meant it was too easy to make money on the downside. When I combine that with all the other things I've seen, I like what I'm seeing. But this area here above 5,500 will not, in my opinion, be a cakewalk. So if we need to pull back, fill in a gap, so be it. By the way, I'm going back to September of 22. So we're really talking about, a pretty big, pretty big deal. This is a line that is worth watching, and it's worth its weight. Again, these aren't these little hourly or 5-minute thing. I don't do
No,
that.
Jeff, I think this is huge because I'm watching these same levels for a lot of different reasons, to be perfectly honest with you. So the fact
Really?
that your eyes lining up in the same place is not a surprise. You brought a NASDAQ composite monthly line chart. So I just want to give a shout out to the creativity and uniqueness of what you're doing here. Monthly line charts, number one, are hard to come by. Number two, the NASDAQ composite. Nobody even cares. Strazza thinks when I bring up the NASDAQ composite that it's like this, exotic index that I'm describing. But for the OGs, Jeff, and you fit the bill of an OG, I explained to you earlier, the OGs appreciate the NASDAQ composite. Is that right?
I don't know. All I could tell, Mr. Strazza, is that if it tells a story, I want to be the storyteller. If it speaks to me, I want to speak to people about it. If it says something that's worthwhile and the lines line up, I want to discuss it. And in this way, what I did is I went back to the October and December of 21 monthly closes. And when I extended a line through the little green box to the right there, which looks like it's in the summer of, what's that? Is that 24? And then take a look at that red arrow, October of 24 test, a rally, and then right below the line. And by the way, if you take a look, once it got above the first circle on the left, the 10-week, it pulled back to it, went up, pulled back to it, held, pulled back to it, broke. Now it's rolling over. So to me, getting rallies, above that line could occur, but on a monthly closing basis, my guess is initially it's going to fail at that line.
So you're fading this bounce. This is a dead cat bounce. This is a bear market rally, you think? Or you think that it just...
Yeah, well, I think if you're in a general bull market, it's hard to think that a major index would be in a bear market. But I think at this point, I wouldn't consider it a performer that I would, want to have on my long list in a general basis. A lot of stocks I look at, you never even hear about because they're much thinner stocks and they don't trade that much. To me, the more something's in the public eye, the more I'm going to take a smaller position and, because the whole world knows about it. But when I'm a technician, I don't look at tariffs. I don't talk earnings. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm sure Jerome Powell is a great guy. I'm sure all these people on all these networks talking about, interest rates and the Fed are great. Do you know that, what was it? Was it October 20th? I'm trying to remember. There was only one day where the 10-year got above 5%, 502. And guess where it closed? 482-ish. That was a negative outside day. We never seen 5% again. That's why if we do, I'm going to probably start to shake a bit. But that was a negative outside day. Instead of saying it's a negative outside day, consider going long the 10-year. People are saying, well, we have to wait for the next Fed meeting. We have to wait for durable goods, consumer sentiment. You're a technician. Just speak to the market. Filter out everything else if you can. If you can.
Throw up slide 2. I got one more question for you, Jeff, and I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank you all the time you do this.
Your hangover and whatnot. Can you let me ask you this. For an OG like yourself, I understand America's great and, it's the biggest market and it's very important. I understand all those things. Someone like yourself, in your experience, because the kids these days, they don't remember a time when international indexes outperformed the U.S. and the U.S. was an underperformer. When the truth is, when you study bull markets throughout history, the U.S. is an underperformer a lot of the time, right? So it's actually very common for the U.S. to be an underperformer. So when you look at the S&P down 5% this year, NASDAQ down 6%, Germany up 24, Brazil up 21, Africa up 15, China up double digits. Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I do follow like you do the ETFs, but the extensive way in which you do it is really unbeknownst to most people in the industry, technicians included. So to you and to your great staff, that is a real feather in your cap. That's an old person's slogan. It's not OG. It's feather
Nice.
in your
That
cap.
was very nice,
It's an FIYC.
Very nice.
Well, I appreciate that. And one more thing I'll add to that is that we're not just talking about international stocks because, that's the flavor of the day. I mean, we've always been that way, right? For a long, like from the beginning.
You have. I mean, I should have shown you the chart of the stock STOXX index on a weekly closing with a super. I mean, this isn't a 45-degree uptrend line like in point and figure, and I do point and figure with a 3-box reversal method. It is so sharp up, and even during the hit, it is still above that line. I'm going to feature that one next time, but if you look at the monthly closing pictures of some of these big European countries and where they are, absolutely, I would, consider what you said, because some of these breakouts are from bases that have been dormant for years and years and years. Yeah. So I really agree with you on that. I think people, they're in America, they see, thousands of stocks listed. They worry about political turmoil or whatever else. And I think the average investor says, I'll buy a fund somewhere or whatever instead of trying to outperform. By the way, to me, I never wanted to perform as well as the crowd. If the Dow lost 51% in the 73, 74 bear market, and the Dow Utilities, which they did, which I talk about in my book, lost 47%. Are you going to go around bragging from a coffee shop at which you can't even afford a cup of coffee because you lost 47%, but the Dow lost 51%? It's crazy. What is outperformance? You're down 10.5 and the indexes are down 13 and you congratulate yourself. It's crazy. I think we've dumbed down a lot of stuff, and I don't like to see it. And I still think stock picking is the art. But according to what people tell me, maybe it's under 20% of, investors that do that today. Granted, they have lots of ways to do it, but I'd rather have me watching my money than a money manager just, having to buy really large cap issues because these are big funds. Just my opinion.
Give him a shout out, Spencer. I see
Jeff Weiss, the author of Relationship Investing. Here, there it is. Check it out.
Hey, am I still on?
Are you still on?
Your audio's still on.
Your audio's on, yeah.
Oh, I just want to tell you, if you buy the book, I promise not to sign it so it retains its value.
Great.
Jeff, before we let you run,
JC, I'm going to send you. I want to come up and have lunch with you again in Allentown.
I want to go to one of those kosher steakhouses. I was talking about kosher steakhouses yesterday, and I have a theory. About this.
Kosher Chateau Neuf de Pop. Oh, kosher Chateau Neuf de Pop.
They do a kosher Chateau Neuf? No.
They don't do a kosher, Karen.
They'll do it for you.
Well, let JC finish.
Here's my theory about the kosher steakhouses. Ready? Okay. See if you guys agree. The reason these kosher steakhouses are so good is that it's because it's such a pain in the ass to do all the things that you need to do to make a kosher steak that it better be good.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go through all that trouble, it's got to be delicious.
Yes, that's correct.
Well,
I think it's a good theory.
It is.
Giant pain in the butt. All right, Jeff, we got to let you run, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Everyone,
figure segment. You.
I would love to. We'll do the 50%. And Ariel, remember, Ariel Israel. That's AI. Remember, that's a code. AI.
That's
Ariel
right. It's my wife's initials. That's right.
Something technologically nice for the
you,
baby.
Jeff.
AI. I love you. God bless. And honored to be on with you. You really have built a great company.
Love you, Jeff. Kosher steaks.
All right. And
remember.
All right. Dude, come on, man. Come on. Jeff
just happened?
Weiss, dude.
I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I can't know for certain. I'm pretty sure that Jeff was talking the entire time. That he wasn't
100%.
when he left and he came back. I think he was just talking the entire
Dude,
time.
I love how his wife makes cameos every time. You know?
Oh, God.
Spencer, you're naming your baby AI?
No,
Okay.
I'm not.
Idea.
Oh, Mary.
Dude,
can you
Ramskull Capital
save-
hating on the kosher steak.
save
I'm
us or
telling you,
something?
you're missing out. The kosher steaks are unbelievable. They're so good. I've been to like 3 or 4 of them over the years. They're all good.
Kosher meat is generally considered higher quality meat because it's such a pain in the ass, right? So, all right, I'm bringing out Mary. Let's do this.
Do it. What's up, Mary? How
Good
are you?
morning. Good morning.
How do you follow that up?
What are we? The food or Jeff or kosher meat? What's that reference?
I don't even know where to start.
It's been a great show. Jeff is so awesome. Love to hear his stories.
He is some character.
And yes, the wife in the background. That was epic.
Before we get into it, just market just opened. We didn't go through maybe all the earnings that we should have today. You're getting broad weakness in the AI trade off of FMCI bombing last night on cutting guidance. Cruise lines are all trading in sympathy lower on Norwegian's earnings. Commodities in general, materials, it's just a bloodbath. Today, weakness in the commodity sector. And some of these earnings reactions, stuff like AppLovin, down 16%. Cautious comments from Edgewater too. They're just coming right back to some really key levels. Like if you look at the app chart, like that's kind of where you want it. So you might get some opportunities in today's session. WGS is another one. This has been one of the hottest biotech you could find this whole cycle. It's down big here this morning. So you could pick your spots on weakness on moves like this. That's 2 names that are standing out. First Solar 2 is heading back to a key level here this morning.
Do we buy the dip in First Solar, huh?
I'm interested.
I'm interested too.
I've been watching solar for several months and been burned a number of times. Been stopped out
I've lost
too many
so
times.
much-
Lots of losses.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of money trying to buy the lows in solar energy stocks.
And they
over
just
the past
keep
few
going
months.
lower.
Yeah, hasn't worked.
Yeah, same.
All right, what do you got, Mary? What are you watching?
Yeah, so throw up the SPX chart that I brought along, just because yesterday we tagged that anchored high VWAP. And so I know today, and then of course the next couple of days, big days with earnings. Tonight, what is Microsoft and Facebook, I believe, right?
And then Apple and Amazon tomorrow.
Yep, exactly. So, we've talked about this many times. And for me, especially if I'm going to continue shopping for a bull market, we got to get above this anchored VWAP from the highs. And this comes in right at your level of 5,600, just exactly what Jeff was talking about as well. So that's kind of what I'm watching. I am kind of dipping my toes in some places. And so first, I was looking at the home builders. And so looking at just the ETF XHB basically came down and tagged that level of support and bounced off it. And so I started a position here in Pulte. PHM, because this has always been one of our leaders that we have watched and has been super successful for us. And I mean, if bull market is back on and this is the V bottom that you've been talking about, Strazza, as a potential reaction here, this went all the way as high as I think 150. So that, back to high. So that's kind of nice move that could be set up if we're bullish going forward here.
I think this is a long-term leader and preferred vehicle for the home builder industry group.
Yep, exactly. So I've dipped my toes in this one. Would like to get a little bit longer if we have like I said, watching that SPX view up and kind of see where earnings go and the reaction to earnings this week, kind of see how the week closes. I've also been poking around in software. Same thing with like IGV, kind of came down, retested that level and bounced off. And so here's one of my software trades. It's CrowdStrike. We've talked about this one, I think, recently. Back in this one again, as it was coming back through that level, let's call it about 400. So this one's looking great. And so, yep, long this one as well as OKTA.
But
And
they
so
were just added to the S&P 400 and saw a huge pop yesterday for it.
Yes. Yep. So what's interesting about OKTA as opposed to CrowdStrike, which is kind of flirting up there with the 52-week highs, OKTA, if we throw that chart up, do we have that one? Yep. Okay. So this
Beautiful.
one is completing a base. Again, anchor a VWAP from the highs, and it all kind of comes in right at that same area. So it's giving a little bit back today, but that VWAP is at about 110. So I took a little starter position on this one as well. I'll get even longer if we get a weekly close above kind of this area. Let's call it 110, 118-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of waiting to see how this one shakes out here in the next couple of days.
I like it when you see a pattern like this that's already had a lot of sloppy chop at the base breakout level. So the fact that we had a false start, whatever, a couple months ago, and tried to take out the VWAP, then failed, fell back into the box, like get those false starts out of the way, right?
Yep.
And as I see that and the base gets longer and longer, I think, okay, it's only a matter of time now. This one's got to go.
Yep.
So I like this one a lot. This would be my
me too.
favorite.
All right.
I'm involved in every name that you just brought. So I
Oh,
like
seriously? Well, good. That means I'm shopping in the right places.
All of those trades would sort of depend on the market as a whole rebounding, right? I mean, if Jeff's point was we made chop around here, that we're at a pretty key level here. So if we chop around for a minute, it's gonna chop you up, and
Yes.
I mean everyone, right? So
Yep.
I've made a rule for myself. I want to be adding when we're back below, touching the VWAP from the lows.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Like this is really the first real attempt trying to take out the VWAP from the all-time highs in the major averages, popped above, and now we're failing. I think now drop that VWAP from the pivot lows, look there, and start adding maybe on weakness or a little strength off of the weakness, right? Back to the VWAP from the pivot lows. It's really just that VWAP pinch. I think you can use that to kind of help guide yourself. Am I adding too much long exposure? Not enough? Use those. And not until we make a valid break and reclaim one do I think you're all in the all clear. Then I think you get really aggressive. Once we make a valid recovery back above the VWAP from the all-time highs, it's not going to happen on the first shot. Once it does happen, let's go off to the races. New all-time highs.
Yeah. I think crypto's looking really spicy as well. I think you mentioned that earlier on in the show. Bitcoin real tight right here. Yeah, there you go. Got your hat on.
that's right.
So
Yep.
got long, a bunch of those last week, and thinking about adding some more, just as it's kind of sitting here and just waiting.
It looks like when are you going to go Bitcoin? And then again today, like Bitcoin is not down today. Stocks are down pretty big. I know it's just one day, but still that relative strength remains.
You know what's funny about Bitcoin? The way people talk about it right now, you would think it's at like 75. It's at 95, 94, right? But it's not even that far below 100, right? But the way people act like it's Bitcoin, it's so dead, right? No, it's at $94,000, right?
Bitcoin has been a beacon of leadership through these volatile times.
Yeah, I just like it. If you'd go off like the sentiment, you would think it's got to be like below 80 or something. No, it's not.
No.
It's just
Looks
All right.
spicy.
It's fast market, Spencer. Why don't you take us out?
Yeah, let's get out of here. Programming note though about tomorrow. We are not going to be doing a morning show. We're going to be something we haven't done this in a while. We're going to simulcast Kenny's room on the channel. So tomorrow, when Kenny hops on at around 8:15, whenever that is, he'll be live on our channel. We'll run with him live all through the open. We'll keep it live pretty much all morning, and that'll be what we have on the channel tomorrow. We'll live with Kenny. You can see his room, see how he trades. We did this at the end of the year, I think, and people loved it. So we're doing it again just for tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday, but for tomorrow at least for the morning, we're not doing a show. We'll have Kenny, and then we'll have Sean will be on, and then we're doing some special stuff in the afternoon with Jeff. So that'll be our normal, but no show tomorrow. Just Kenny all morning. Check it out. That's my PSA. I'll send an email out about it as well in a little bit. As far as today goes, members of Hot Corner Insider, you'll have your weekly video as you do every Wednesday, and there might be a JC stream this afternoon. You have to stop by and see for yourself if that ends up coming to fruition. In any case, let's get out of here. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mary. Steve, what do you have to say? Yes.
Can you hear me? I would like to read off a quick public market announcement from the president of the United States. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Tariffs will soon start kicking in, and companies are starting to move into the USA in record numbers. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. This will take a while. It has nothing to do with tariffs, only that he left us with bad numbers. But when the boom begins, it will be a boom like no other. Be patient. Inspiring words from POTUS.
I wish we had Kenny here because he could do it in the voice, and that would be epic.
There are no
He
words.
He does a great Trump.
I have no words. All right. On that note, thanks for watching. Go make some money. Drop us a like. Check out the links to all of our free stuff in the description of this video. And we'll see you guys around. All right.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.